between her and anything else. Everything just joined as one infinite field of energy consciousness. And she said it was just bliss. Nirvana, she called it. When she tries, eventually, the left brain eventually kicks in and says, you've got to get help. She tries to call work, a colleague, to help her out. Took her 45 minutes, I think she said, a long time, trying to go through these business cards to find the number, because when she looked at them, she couldn't see numbers and words anymore, because this wasn't decoding reality as it should. She could see pixels. She was seeing this reality one step back in its digital pixel state. Eventually, through following the squiggles, she says, she managed to ring the number. And when the guy, he must have said something on the other end, like, hello, all she heard, she said, when he picked the phone up, was woof, 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 woof. And then she said, I tried to say to him, hey, this is Jill, I'm in trouble. And all she heard herself say was woof, 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 woof. Because the vibration was not being decoded by the left brain, the language part, into words that we can understand. And what the system wants to do is to put these firewalls up, called education, science, politics, media, peer pressure, to keep the right brain out of it. And this is fundamental. Because these things are all part of the defense mechanism, keeping us in left brain reality and out of right brain infinity. Now, some people, they call them autistic savants, like this man, Stephen Wiltshire. They access the right brain potential in ways that other people don't. And this is why they're capable of fantastic achievements. This guy, Stephen Wiltshire, was taken up in a helicopter over London by the BBC for half an hour with nothing except his eyes, and then came down and drew London from the air with incredible accuracy. Why? Because he was accessing that infinite potential that left brain people, most of people in the world, don't. This guy, Daniel Tammet, another autistic savant, has again achieved incredible things, because he was challenged once to learn Icelandic in a week, and it's an incredibly difficult language to learn. I mean, none of the media were using on their news reading, were using the real name of that volcano in Iceland, were they? Because they could bloody pronounce it. This guy went back on television a week later speaking Icelandic. And his Icelandic teacher said, he's not human. Yes, he is. It's the human that we once were and will be again. When this suppression of our potential and our infinite possibility is brought to an end, and this shite stops. We worship the intellect. Oh, he's got a great mind. Oh, he did this at Oxford. Oh, he's gone to Harvard. Mind is such a low level of awareness. It's supposed to be a vehicle for experiencing this reality, a servant of consciousness. It's become our master. It's become something to worship. And that's the isolated intellect. That's the isolated intellect. And so we reach a point. This fork in the road is, are we going to be consciousness or mind? Are we going to be all that is or little me? It's not really free your mind, it's free yourself from mind. That's why society is structured to completely engross us and swamp us in things to occupy our mind. Open your mind, become all that is. Infinite love is the only truth, everything else is illusion. What is infinite love? All possibility, infinite possibility. Choice between the head, thinking, intellect, and the heart, knowing, wider consciousness. Then we start to access this wider information and see the world from a completely different level. We then start to access, once we get out of mind, all these other realities that are there to be accessed and perceived and to glean insight and information from, that have been denied by being encloseted and enclosed in mind. As William Blake said, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. The control system's game is not to have that cleanse happen. René Descartes, the French mathematician and philosopher, defining who we are, said, "I think, therefore I am." I would update that on the body-computer level and say, "I compute, therefore I am." But beyond that, in the realms of consciousness, it is simply, "I am, therefore I am." I am all that is, has been, and ever will be. And this multi-leveled conspiracy is there to keep that knowledge from us, to hold us in little me mental states, so a tiny few can control billions. Without this knowledge, we cannot understand the conspiracy and how it works. And the question is, who's behind it? See, they're hiding already. Who's behind it? And that's what we'll get to in the next section, which will start in 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Love will set you free. Love will set us free. Love will set you free. 'Cause you can't manipulate peace and harmony. It's a spiritual revolution. 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 It's all part of your evolution. Your fate is still unknown. So wake up, my friends. The future now depends on you. So please lead us home.
This next section takes us from that information about reality and starts to relate it to the situation we find ourselves in. There are 20 years between these two photographs, and in that time, really amazing things have happened. So many people have gone from that to that, and it's an exponential curve that's gathering pace all the time. And people are starting to see what is increasingly there, that we are watching the unfolding imposition of a fascist global state, or communist global state. They're the same either way. I'm sure people in fascist Germany and people in Stalinist Russia thought there was a big difference between the worlds that they lived in. Different names for the same basic control system. But I would suggest that if we stay only at the level of the five senses, only at the level of the world we see banking scams, manipulated wars, Orwellian imposition, then we're not going to get truly what is going on. Because I say this, look at it. This world has been changing and is changing so rapidly in terms of all different aspects of this control system, the way they manipulate education, manipulate wars, put in the people they want as presidents, give us all this shite through food and drink, control the media, manufacture the global warming scam, big pharma, and 9/11 and all that stuff. And it's coming in such a coordinated way. So if we are going to think that this situation that we're seeing unfold goes back to a few men and women in dark suits or whatever sitting round a table saying what's our next move, we are clearly massively missing the point. And the vast majority of people who over the last few years have started investigating this, they will not go any further. They will not go any further because A, their belief systems won't let them, often their religious belief system, but also they are fearing what other people will think about them if they go into some of these areas I'm going to go into now. What people make of it is up to them. My right to say it is up to me. So yes, it's not just people sitting around a table somewhere in the world discussing the next move. There's the level where we see this unfolding in the news and what have you. Then there's this other dimensional, non-human level to look at, as I will in this section. Then there's the level of the nature of reality, which I've introduced already. And then there's this whole stuff about the moon, which I'll get into in this section too. And the rabbit hole doesn't end there. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper you go into the rabbit hole, the more we understand what the game is, the more we can change the game. And it's all about the control and programming of perception. That's the only way the few, and it is a few compared with the global population, that the billions can be controlled. Manipulating how we interact with reality, keeping from us that we are consciousness, putting us in these bubbles of our sense of limitation and I can't, manipulating the way we decode reality, and therefore making us see the world as the control system wants us to see it. That's the basis of all of it going through the day, because that's the basis of all of it going through the whole conspiracy. So yes, of course, on one level it does manifest as dark suits sitting round a table discussing the next move. But that's still the play-out world of this conspiracy. It's not its origin. It goes beyond them into the advisors in the shadows, the Mandelsons in this country. Peter Mandelson, if he's not manipulating, he gets withdrawal symptoms, that man. And into the Rahm Emanuels, ditto, in America, the controller, handler of Barack Obama. It goes into deeper levels, beyond them, deep in the hidden secret society network. And eventually, it goes out of this dimension. And that's where this whole thing is really coming from. Beyond the frequency range of visible light. And it involves non-human entities. Some of them people call the greys. The main ones, I would say, and have been saying for a long, long time, take a reptilian form. They operate outside. They can come into visible light. But in terms of the reptilian part of this, they can't stay here for that long. So people say, why don't they just come and take over? Because they can't. Or they would. They can come for so long, but their vibrational difference, incompatibility, means they have to leave. They can't stay for long, although there are technological ways they can stay for longer. And they operate outside visible light, and they manipulate this reality through bloodlines, interbreeding bloodlines, that I'll come to. And we call them the Illuminati families. So, we operate with invisible light, but outside of that, sharing the same space, is infinite other worlds and realities. And if a so-called UFO comes into this reality, because it's coming into visible light from where we cannot decode, it just seems to appear out of flipping nowhere. Because what it's done, it hasn't actually come in, it's just changed its vibrational state to resonate with invisible light, and it's like, it came out of nowhere. And then how often do you see it? Honestly, mate, there was this bloody UFO, and it disappeared.